Hi, this is Nancy with On Point TV, and I'm going to do something a little different today. This will be a video on painting the fabric. So here's some pictures of some of the ones that I paint. And I realize that these top-down videos just might be a little bit more instruction for you without a lot of talking. So I did the videos. The talking is me doing a voiceover afterwards. And Athena sped these videos up, I think, 3 times faster. So in the videos, I'm moving pretty quick, but I'm going to give you an idea of what I am doing as I go. So here I go. So I started out this video, I'm using 2 of the gel press plates. These are both the 8x10s. The more and more I do this, the more I just feel it's more efficient, and I just feel like I get better prints when I use actually 2 of the presses. So you don't have to, and they come in lots of different sizes, and people use lots of different sizes. So just know that that's an option, but that's what you'll see me doing. I love how fast I move here. I feel like, Wonder Woman. I'm like moving so fast. My intention with this video is I wanted to create some sort of a stained glass sort of a look. I really love the black paint on the fabrics when I make them, and I saw somebody do something similar to this, and I thought, that would look really cool on fabric. So that's what we're going to try. So I first put down the black paint, and then I used one of my joggle stencils, and that's what you saw in the very beginning. And then I picked up the paint between the stencils on that first piece that you saw. That was just kind of like, the extra little guy. Now I'm putting down 3 colors. So I've put down the yellow, the orange, and the pink there, and I'm using my 2-inch brayer, and I'm just kind of filling in all the gaps. So the black is still trapped under the stencil, and I've added this paint to the tops of them. Now I peel it off. Now, in truth, I wish it would come out just like you saw it right there on the very top of the plate. It doesn't, and this is not my favorite one. I think that I get a couple of better ones later on, but it's all a process doing more and more. So while that one is drying on the left, I'm just going to brayer out the other colors on the right, because that will give me a base for creating yet another stained glass look. So I put that one down, and this was exciting. I went to just clean off my stencil. I had put the stencil down on a clean piece so that the paint was trapped. And then when I rubbed the black, it gave me a little bit of a gray, and I kind of thought that was pretty cool. I liked that. So you see I picked it up, and it was just kind of muddier than I wanted. I wanted the black lines to be more distinctive. So and then the one with the 3 colors, you'll see that one come up later, and that one turns out really very cool. So to pick up some of the color on the plate there, I'm using just a cream kind of color. And I don't know if you can hear the horn outside, but just ignore the horn. I'll talk extra loud so you can hear me instead. So I put down the cream color on top of what was left on the plate on both of them. And I'm supposed to take my time and let it kind of really soak in. And if you do that, it will pick up the design. So I'm not very patient. Even at 3 times fast, I move too fast, because you'll see when I pick up the one on the left-hand side that it's not quite as clear as I wanted. And this, I'm like, is it dry enough? Well, yeah, this one turned out okay. So I just picked up the extras, but this one did not really pick up enough. I wished it had picked it all up. So this is when I try to dry it with my hand, and I'm not actually moving that fast, I just thought that was funny. Here I am drying it really, really fast. See? And I pick up something else, try to dry it really, really fast. What I did notice when I was watching these recordings before we were doing the voiceovers is I so wanted to get right back downstairs and start painting again. This is such kind of, it's freeing, because yep, it's art and I'm painting, but I'm not having to try to paint a still life or something like that. I'm just putting the paint down, and what comes up with it, I just think is amazing. And what I really love is using the fabrics afterwards in quilts. So here's another one of my joggle stencils. I don't know what this one is called, and the links will be below so that you can go right to Joggles and find all of those things. And I'd appreciate it if you use the links, because I am an affiliate with Barb, and so I do get paid a small percentage, and so it helps me keep doing what I'm doing. But I love putting down the black paint first, then the stencil. then you saw that this was the colored piece that I had. And I want to pick up as much of the black line between the stencil as possible. And at first I just didn't do it enough, and so, there, I got more of it off with the yellow this time. But really take your time trying to get as much off through the stencil, like the one on the right is, and you'll see the results. Love it. Just thought that turned out really, really cool. And I'm trying to pick up just a little bit more of the black that was left before I try the technique again. I've got the orange, the blue, and the green, and using my 2-inch brayer, just trying to put down little sections of the paint. Every time I go off to the right there, when the brayer disappears, that means that I'm trying to clean off my brayer so I got more pure color going on, and it worked pretty good. I must admit, I love this 2-inch brayer. I didn't know, I'd never had one before, but I'd seen other people use it. Love it. I think it's the Speedball brand. It doesn't really matter what brand it is. A brayer's a brayer. When I peel this off, again, I love it. I wish that there was a way that I could get that through the whole thing, but it just doesn't turn out quite that much. And I've got enough paint on it that I've started putting an extra piece of fabric on top when I'm rubbing it. So this one, I laid the colored side of the stencil onto a clean piece of fabric. Now I'm wiping the black off, and it's going between the lines, so it kind of gets a gray. And this was totally by accident that I came up with this. Now I'm going to brayer off to the left, just so I'll be able to pick that whole piece of color with the green, the blue, and the orange, and that'll be another background. Keep in mind, this is a 2-part video. Oh, see there? That one turned out pretty good, but it needs more. Here I'm going to pick up, there's a little bit too much paint again. Nothing new. Someday I'll figure out what the perfect amount of paint is. Yeah, have no idea what it is. So that'll be a good background for later. And I'm picking up a little bit more of that kind of a ghost print that was left behind. There was a lot of paint on there. Now let's see. This I thought turned out pretty good. This would be what I'd call my best one. Really, really loved the way that one turned out. And then I think at this point I'm trying to decide what am I going to do next. Oh, I've got more stencils. So the stencils I'm pulling out now, again from Joggles, and these are what would be called a mask. So instead of the square edge and the design on the inside, a mask is going to be almost like the cutout of that. So, and here I got way too much black paint on, so I just start putting some black paint onto the second brayer, onto the second plate. Now here I was ready to put that down, and I thought, wait a minute, look at all that black paint. So I decided to take a rag and just kind of pick up some of it ahead of time. Otherwise it would have just been way too dark. You already see that some of it's coming through anyway, but just using a rag gave it a little bit of texture, taking off some of the black paint, and just really trying to press down so I can get as much of it as possible onto that. And I think this one turned out really great too. I love this one. Yep. So I've got the colored outlines and then the black on the inside, and we'll show you some stills at the end of this. I'm not sure how Athena will do it, but she'll take some of the photos I took of these pieces and then just kind of run them through. I think I show you at the end anyway too, but I want you to be sure that you see what I actually ended up with. So here, again, put way too much paint on the plate on the right, but I'm getting it onto the plate on the left. I've got the black trapped between that circle mask. Got enough on, and now I just start spreading that paint all over the place, and it's just pretty darn thick. I just need to just consider less is more when I put the paint on, and I haven't quite figured that out. And I've been doing this for 3 or 4 years now, and I still haven't figured it out. So using that extra piece of fabric on top, it gets a little bit of the color. And then this is the color of the stencil is on the fabric, and I'm rubbing the black off, which is creating that kind of a gray. Picking up more of the paint. Yep, now I'm just going to spread this one onto the left, and this one ended up being one of my favorite ones, the one with the black strip and then the blue, the purple, and the pink. I just thought it looked kind of cool. Not at the beginning, it's just too much, but just kind of plain. But you'll see what I do with it in part 2 of this, where I go and start using stamps. So I peel this one off. That one's a nice little light colored one. And I think the one on the left I'm going to pull off here in a second. And I do really like that one. Oh, love this one. I thought this one turned out really, really sharp too. All right. And then the one on the right is just going to be a solid that I'll use later. Here's me trying to dry off my plate again. Don't use a heat tool to dry off your plate if you are trying to do that. Time is best. So I'm just laying down that layer of green, and then I'll leave that on the plate until the next time I come to play, which was about an hour later. So, and I'll show you what that turns into later on in part 2. So here are the 3. Like, I got 3 prints from each stencil, except for that one I got 2 because I didn't pick up quite enough of it the first time. All right. So love that one on top, love the one on the bottom. I got some really good prints out of this. And what you'll notice now in these stills is, some of these look really, really good. And then in the beginning of part 2, I'll show you a few more as I add more to it. So there you go. Our first top-down voiceover painting video. I hope you like that. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And all the supplies are available on the links below. So thank you very much for watching and have a great day.